Want to make sure, do you all see that has your screen changed?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it's a little bit after 8, so welcome everybody. This is our NBJ Elections Candidates Forum for our media-related professional candidates. Thank you so much. I'm April Turner. I am with Turner Communications Consulting, and I'm also a former NBJ Associate Rep, 2007 to 2011. I'm joined here tonight by our three candidates, Terry Allen, Tansy West, and Mark Willis, which in a second will introduce themselves, just so we know a little bit about our format. I'm also joined tonight by our current associate rep, Don Angelique Roberts, as well as our former associate rep, Mita Meriday, 1999 to 2003. And they're going to help me ask some questions tonight of our three candidates running for office. Please feel free to use the system to either type your questions in. So when we get to that portion, we'll ask the candidates your questions, or feel free to use our social media channels. The hashtag is NBJ Election 15, and we can ask your questions to the candidates. So I wanted to start out with each candidate introducing themselves, going in alphabetical order, starting with Terry. And Terry, you have 2 minutes. The floor is yours. Tell us about your candidacy and why you're running for this office.
Okay. On the spot here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, members of NABJ. I'm Terry Allen. Asking for your vote for a media-related position and a media-related representative. I'm a dedicated member of NABJ, and I've served in numerous capacities, locally, regionally, and national, in positions where I've generated funding and ideas for innovative programming, relevant panels, and represented the interests of NABJ members across all of our membership levels. A lot of times we have to build bridges between the associate members and the member body, and those people in the media-related fields have allowed me to be able to bridge those gaps. I not only tried to be a voice for everyone, but I'm also an influencer. I ask for your vote to continue much of the groundbreaking work that we've done since 2003 and 2005. And I want to bring some results-oriented approach to the membership, especially during the times that we're having right now. So I want us to advance our careers, start businesses, and save money. I'll ask for your support and your vote, and I'll await your questions.
Thank you so much, Terry. And now we'll hear from Tansy West. Tansy, are you still with us?
I am sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you, April, for having me. I just want to talk a little bit about myself and my platform. I have been with NABJ since 1994 when I assisted WABJ with hosting the 1995 NABJ convention in Washington. During that convention, I was in charge of two fundraising events that brought in a significant amount of money for the local chapter. I've also enjoyed the other many opportunities that NABJ has given me, such as being a panelist, participating in different media institutes, and participating in the National Convention as a sponsor, and to produce several workshops on education. However, tonight I stand before you as a candidate who is ready to be your next media-related board member. I give to you my platform that is stoked in just 3 areas. I want to inform, inspire, and empower other associate members as their board representative. I love the profession of communications and public relations, but more importantly, I love what it has allowed me to become. Early in my career, I've learned the lessons of tenacity and grit and coupled them with the ability to understand how and why our profession is critically important. I've learned how to represent people with integrity and strength that ensures that our voices will be heard loudly and boldly. And so my pledge to the associate members of NABJ is that I will bring that same spirit during my tenure as media-related board member. As I mentioned, I want to inform, inspire, and empower. By informing, I believe that as associate members, we need to have more media institutes and webinars where we can teach and learn from each other and other members. We need to be on more panels and create our own conversations around issue areas that are important to us. Additionally, I want to inform externally. I believe in promoting NABJ to other PR professionals who may not know about us and encourage them to bring their sponsorship dollars to us. For example, I brought in $20,000 for a media institute by just talking about NABJ to 2 other education organizations. And just last week, I pitched NABJ 2016 to a room full of decision makers of both Black and Hispanic descent, and encourage them as well to support NABJ 2016 convention, since it's going to be a joint convention. Each person from those organizations now want to meet with me to find out how they can bring money and support to NABJ. I also want to inspire by sharing career opportunities and ensuring that companies who are looking for communications and media professionals know about us. I wanted to establish a job blog where we can post our resumes and current job openings, that we can share information and inspire each other. Personally, my last 3 hires have been freelancers that I've met recently through NABJ. I refuse to look anywhere else when I need to make a job hire, because I believe NABJ has all the talent that we need. I believe in us, and I believe in investing in us. And lastly, I want to empower us to engage with each other more on our social media platforms and through networking events. I want to create ways that allow us to expand our collective voice, to learn through empowerment that we can and will be stronger. So let's leverage our talent so we can be that group of NABJ members who are rooted in tenacity and strength and grit, and who speak loudly and boldly about those issues that matter most to us and those issues that we want to bring forth. So I ask for your vote because I've been at this for over 20 years now. I know the importance of being a PR professional and where we fit in our role at NABJ and just in our profession, period. So I submit to you, vote yes for Tansy West, and allow me the opportunity to inform, inspire, and empower you and us. We are a winning combination. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Tansy. And now we'll hear from our last candidate, Mark Willis.
Good evening, NABJ media-related professional members. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. Online voting resumes tomorrow at noon, so I'm asking for your vote. A little bit about me. My history with NABJ goes back to 2002. In fact, I got my first job in television news as a reporter because of NABJ, because of posting a resume on NABJ's website. A news director came looking for someone from NABJ and found me. Since then, I've served as a volunteer mentor with the NABJ short course at North Carolina A&T State University. I volunteered with the Multimedia Student Projects, and for the last 4 years, I've served as a volunteer mentor with the NABJ Student Project, PR Student Project, that is. I'm running to be NABJ's next media-related professional representative now because it's time. My campaign platform is leadership through education, achievement, and networking, or LEAN. LEAN because I want you to be able to lean on me. If elected, I will work with other board members to enhance the great student programs we already have in place. I will seek continuing education opportunities for seasoned professionals and open a dialogue with companies that we may not have traditionally reached out to bring their jobs and money to NABJ. So I'm asking you to lean on me as I continue serving this great organization that has given so much to me. I hope that I can count on your vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our 3 candidates. And now I am going to ask Don and Mita for some help in asking you all a few questions. Just a reminder, everyone has a minute and 30 seconds to answer the questions. And we're going to kind of do a round robin and go in alphabetical order. Back to that slide. For people that are in the audience, feel free to email your questions in through the system, or feel free to use our hashtag, again, #NBJElection15. And I am going to pay honor to those that came before us. Mita Meriday asked her to go first and ask our candidates our first question.
Oh, well, thank you, April, and congratulations to all of you for taking this step towards being a part of the National Association of Black Journalists and stepping forward. And I'm just going to get to the heart of the matter to ask the 3 of you, because you've mentioned it in your opening, some of you, but in terms of the money, because that's definitely something critical to the organization, how much money have you raised for NABJ, locally, regionally, nationally during the course of your membership, and what were some of the innovative programs that were tied to that fundraising?
And you know what? Since Terry started off with introductions, Tandy, why don't you go first and answer that question?
Sure. So locally through WABJ, when I worked on the 1995 convention, I believe we raised somewhere in the neighborhood of about $15,000 to $20,000. Since then, let's see, for convention, that would be nationally. I brought in $20,000 last year, and as I mentioned, there because of the Media Institute, where I'm sorry. The convention, I brought in $25,000. Because of the Media Institute, where I brought in $20,000, there are two repeat people who are coming to 2015 convention, where they're also coming on as sponsors with additional dollars. And then, as I also mentioned, there are 6 organizations who were in a meeting that I was in last week that I'm meeting with, and I'm pitching them for supporting 2016 convention. The one thing that I also wanted to mention really quickly is one of the things that I believe that we need to do is create our own pipeline of professionals, or professional pipeline, where we encourage each other and where we teach each other different tricks of our trade, so that we can prepare each other for our next position. And so in order for us to do that, we also need some funding and we need some resources. So those same people that I'm asking to support the organization as a whole, I'm also going to ask them to support media-related associate members in particular, so that we can have our own pot of money to make sure that we can do the things that we want to do, so that represent us the way that we want to be represented.
So I'm just not sure I got the total answer to the question. Are you saying, so in total you've raised $45,000, including $25,000 net, was a part of a chapter effort? Because I was asking about you individually.
Yes. So through the work that I did with WABJ, we raised between $15,000 and $20,000. Again, that was in 1995, so we can check the chapter records. And then for the Media Institute, I raised $20,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Now, Mark?
Well, Mita, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I haven't raised any money yet because I haven't had to. I haven't been asked to. I've worked closely with behind the scenes, volunteering, getting in where I fit in with the organization. However, knowing that I was running for this position, I've already started to seek out some funding opportunities for the future. One example is I've discussed with a medical organization on exhibiting at our convention next year here in Washington, D.C. This medical organization has expressed they're very eager to talk to us and even host a panel where they can discuss minority health issues. Don't want to go into a whole lot of details on that right now because, it's in the beginning stages, but I can tell you that my wife works for the company and I've already had her take my idea to them, and I know that they're ready to jump on this right away. In addition, I want to reach out to media companies, your Cisions, your Googles, companies that we use every day in our day-to-day work that maybe we haven't reached out to in the past. Get them to come in, sponsor something, as well as do a seminar to teach our members how to use their equipment that they want to always sell us and our organizations that we work for. So bottom line, to answer your question is, so far I haven't raised any money. I haven't been asked to. That's not what I've been working and doing for the organization. However, if I'm elected, I know that that's something that's a part of the job, and I'm already seeking opportunities to reach out for sponsors.
Thank you so much, Mark. And Terry?
Thanks. I would give it a total, which would be a mix of in-kind and cash, close to around $40,000, which starts with our money we raised for the Dallas convention. It starts with the in-kind that we brought in the conference for the associate members, when we brought in the hostess for the chefs and the food, the insurance sponsor for parts of our panels, the urban journalism workshop for youth here in the city. And so when you combine it all together, it's been around $40,000. And just as Mark and Tanya has said, there is so much opportunity out there that we have not been able to tap into until we're at a place where we have a voice to do it. Just recently, I created a partnership with the same companies that Mark mentioned, Citizen, Vocus, Spotify, Pandora, and they all wanted to give a large portion of money to come back and train and teach people their software and to get the exposure. And that's always been on the table. Having a vote and having the opportunity to bring that to the table would be an amazing thing to do. And also, I just had a collaboration meeting with the PR companies. A lot of times, the media-related representatives go to the convention and career fair, and when you're in the career portion, there's hardly anything for us to do. When I begin to approach top-dollar, top-notch PR companies, they're saying, yeah, we're more than willing to spend our money and our time to come and get top-notch talent and being a connector. So those are the things that are the potential, but like everyone else, my background is revenue development and sponsorship. So I'm more than willing to bring to the table. My main platform was saying to build an endowment for the the media-related task force, so that we will have an operating budget that goes beyond convention, it goes beyond our media institute, that allows us to build certified training and skills. It allows us to empower transitioning journalists. It allows us to build a strong relationship between transitioning journalists and PR. So there's an opportunity for me to build at least $100,000 to $150,000 endowment just for the the media-related task force.
Thank you, Terry. I'm now going to move on to Don Angelique Roberts. Don, do you have a question for our candidates?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you to Tansy, Terry, and Mark. Thank you for stepping up and running for this position on the board. My first question is, for each of you, why should we elect you as the media-related professional?
And Mark, that's your turn to go first now.
Okay. Personally and professionally, I've proven myself as a leader. I have a track record of collaborating with others for the greater good of the organization and not for personal gain. I've worked with new and seasoned professionals within NABJ, helping them to access my network. I can bridge that gap that we have with our journalist counterparts, and make sure that they understand the importance of media-related professionals, us PR and public affairs people, and the value that we add to the organization and the value that we add, to being in their network. Those are some of the things that I think that I bring to the table, and I would continue to, grow that network and to help others to grow and succeed as well.
Thank you, Mark. And Terry, you want to answer that question?
Yeah. Could you repeat the question again, please?
Certainly. Why should we elect you as the media-related professional?
Well, I think that what's really, really important is that the NABJ is a national organization. It's not a local, it's not a regional, it's a national organization with global impact. And my background with NABJ and also in the community and with corporations has always been a national presence and a global presence. We are not an organization that is focused on just a region or just an area, but we have to impact ourselves globally and nationally. And my fundraising totals in my whole history has went into multiple millions of dollars. And I'd love to be the person to bring that opportunity and that revenue into NABJ. The programs that we done since 2005, when we did the first journalism transition panel, to the time we were in San Diego, in Vegas, in Minneapolis, and all the other places where we built more and more panels that focused on the relationship between PR and journalism. So those type of media connections and those connectors is what makes me a great candidate. I think that if I were not running for office, Mark would be a great candidate. If Mark was not running out of time, he would be a great candidate. This time in the election, there are some very talented people on this phone vying for this position. I don't take anything from them, but what makes me the candidate that I want you to cast your vote for is that I want to maintain the profile of NABJ and look forward to the new administration to take it to the next level that it needs to go to, maintain what is done good, and create a operating budget that doesn't depend on convention, but it depends on all the money that we're leaving on the table in terms of research dollars, speaking bureaus, expertise that can be lent to other organizations in the relationship with the major PR companies. Those things are relationships I built. So it's just time for me to step into that role and ask for the vote so that we can create a revenue-friendly and a revenue-rich organization.
Thank you so much, Terry. And then Tansy?
So I believe that you should vote for me, or I'm the person for this position, because I believe in the organization and, more importantly, the members. I understand the value that we collectively bring to the organization and to external partners. I've always talked about the need for people who do not know NABJ to not only become acquainted with the organization, but to support us with dollars and job opportunities. I'm an advocate for NABJ and its members and have been since 1994 without anyone asking me to, but because I understand and know our value. And because I'm also an associate member. And as such, I know what's missing, I know what works, and I know what doesn't work. I've been a sponsor, and again, I know what's missing, I know what works, and I know what doesn't work. You should vote for me because I believe that I'm a well-rounded candidate. I bring to the table the know-how and the ability to fundraise. I know how to hire people. I know what employers are looking for. I know what we need to do internally in order to better represent our voice internally and externally. I do it for a living. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I also know the value of just being a PR professional and being in the communications field. And so with all of that, I just bring, like I said, the grit and the tenacity to this position to go in and fight for us and be a voice for us and not only represent us on the board, but continue my advocacy for the organization and its members to future and current external partners. So that's why I think you should vote for me.
Thank you so much, Tansy. I'm now going to take a question. I had a question coming in from one of our attendees, Ron Carter. I'm going to give this one to you first, Terry. He's asking, if elected, what would be your priorities in the first 3 months in office?
First 90 days, huh? Okay. Well, my history with NABJ starts in 1997 when, as a student editor, I became a managing editor for a local black newspaper. And without NABJ existing, I wouldn't have been able to make the connections to make that newspaper profitable. I wouldn't have been able to make the connections to make that newspaper grow its circulation and its ad revenue. And I'm a person about results. As a media-related representative, the directives of the outlined president will be driving the force of what I will be doing the first 90 days. And I'll continue to bring the hard work and results to this organization. This is an organization that I love. I have given to this organization without a requirement since the day I walked in the door. I've effectively served locally, regionally, and nationally. And I'm going to continue to build the bridges. I think that as all of us on running for this candidacy, we want to make sure that every candidate from the Bay Area to New Hampshire to Africa has an opportunity here. So we build those bridges, establish more profitable revenue-generating relationships, and follow directives set up by the entire board that is driven by the votes from the members and what the members want. So that would be my first 90 days. Actually, that would be my first day. And from that, I would do more measurable things to do. So, building stronger webinars, creating action-oriented e-blasts, creating teleconferences that are more regionally outreach and based. So those are the things I would work on. And I would also try to support what has made NABJ great at all times anyway.
Thank you so much. And Tansy, you want to tackle that question?
Sure. So for my first 90 days, I would try to meet with as many media-related members as I possibly can to ensure that I understand what we want. I think that in order for me to adequately represent our membership, I need to hear and get to know our membership. And so I would use formats like the one that we're on right now again, to try to meet and open my door or my virtual door to talk to and just really listen to what we want as a collective group. And then that would actually be during my first 30 days. And then from there, I would formulate a plan that I could use to take to the new president and talk to the new president and the rest of the board members about how we want to be represented, what our voices are going to be, and what our priorities are going to be, at least for the first year, so that they have an idea that we've come to play, that, we've come to play the game, we've come to play hard, and that we're no longer going to be, the question is no longer going to have to be asked, what role does PR people play in the NABJ organization, because that question was asked this past Saturday. I think the answer will speak for itself once they see that we have a plan and we have a collective voice that is being represented by someone who's not afraid to speak up and to, get our hands dirty with the work that we need to do. I would also begin to build infrastructures around the low-hanging fruit that we have, right? So I would build a job blog where we can share. I would increase our social media profiles. I would probably create like a blog on WordPress or something like that, where we can just exchange ideas and talk to each other and create a professional development environment that will allow us to get to know each other. In ways that I can, if we can create some opportunities where we can get together and gather in person, I certainly will research those ideas and present them to the membership as well to see if that's something that they would like to do, and then go ahead and put those in motion. So in short, I would meet as many members as I can, understand what they want, put those wants and needs in a plan of action, meet with the new president to discuss that plan of action, and then create infrastructures that are easy to create within the first 90 days, and then make sure that I'm constantly reporting back out to the members so that they understand and know what our progress is.
Thank you so much, Tansy. And Mark?
My approach would be the same for, I guess, any position that I'm new to. I would, if I'm elected here, in the first 90 days, I would first reach out to my opponents and I would ask them for their continued support. My idea is that we're one NABJ, and I don't want to alienate anyone. I want to make sure that everyone knows that there's still a place for them in this organization. I believe in working smarter, not harder. So I will reach out to the outgoing board members, like Dawn Roberts, and get a briefing, set up some time on her schedule to get a briefing and find out, get brought up to speed on just some things that may be outstanding initiatives, and learn what has worked in the past and what hasn't, and some of the reasons why these things haven't worked. I would also reach out to members, the media-related professional members, whom I've met through the convention, and those that I've met, through social media. Maybe I haven't had a chance to meet them in person, and set up a chance to talk to them and make sure that they understand, know what some of the issues are that they want to see addressed out of this new board. If I'm not mistaken, there's usually a board meeting in October, so I want to be prepared for that. So I want to bring those items I've already mentioned to the table when we meet in October. Then finally, I want to make sure that I reach out to newly elected board members, regional directors, and NABJ's executive director, Daryl Matthews. I want to make sure they know that I'm a team player. And while, we may not always agree, we can find common ground to make sure that we do what's best for the organization going forward.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm going to circle back to our former Associate Rep, Media Meriday, for the next question.
Well, thank you, April. Good discussion. I'm liking just the information that I'm hearing so far. And as one of the developers of the Media Institute, I'm always interested in hearing about things that keep that going. I want to ask the three of you, how well versed are you regarding NABJ and the constitutional changes that brought about this position? In terms of when you talk to the membership about different things and getting an idea of what their concerns are, what information can you share with them based upon your knowledge that would answer or address any questions that they may have, since this is a new position for them, based upon the viewpoint of members who responded to the questionnaire for constitutional changes?
And Terry, I'm sorry, Tansy, I think you should go first this time.
So unfortunately, I didn't see the questionnaire, so I would first have to uh, understand and read the questionnaire and the responses if I'm assuming that I would be privy to that information, so that I can have a better understanding of what the responses were, just so I would know what the responses were. I do know, I did read the new bylaws, and I read the explanation of what the media-related member, so board member position is. And I have to say that, I was a little, not taken aback, but just a little, I don't know, I felt like the position was very reserved. And so it made me think a lot differently about my platform and understanding that I'm going to have to be pretty creative in making sure that our voice is loud and taking a lot, just taken seriously, and not just an opinion around the table, but, a voice that is actually impactful. And because, I believe in speaking my truth, and I believe in representing the truth. And even though the definition may say that, we can only vote on media-related matters, I think that, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have an impactful voice in the conversation. And if it should come up again in terms of changing that bylaw, I certainly would make my voice really, really loud.
Thank you, Tansy. Terry?
Okay. Amita, could you repeat the question a minute?
Just basically, I wanted to know from the candidates, because this is a new position. So in terms of your outreach to the members within your constituency, I wanted to know how well versed the three of you are with regard to, one, the position that you're running for, and two, the constitutional changes that were a direct result of members, a majority, not even majority, but you had a number of members who responded to the Constitutional Committee's request for surveys and input, and because of that request and the information that was received, the changes were put in place, the membership voted, and now we have this media-related position that the three of you are running for. So how familiar are you with the NABJ Constitution and these changes, and how you're going to represent your constituency and answer any questions that they have?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to keep my answer brief, but being involved with NABJ from programming to membership for almost 20 years, which includes advocating to even have the associate member rep position and fighting for programs for media-related people and building the bridge to allow the main body of journalists to understand how important a media-related representative and a media-related initiatives and panels are. It makes it easy for me to be well-versed to speak on their interest and continue to advocate on the behalf of the media-related members, behalf of journalists who are transitioning, and NABJ as a whole. So I think that we have to focus on our investments of money, time, and our expertise and protect those things that make NABJ great. So one of the things that I would include in those first 90 days is the last 30 days of that is that I would be in Atlanta, I would be in Memphis, I would be in the places that I could go to easily because of my job, and reach out to the people to make sure that as a media-related representative, I am representing. I am representing their voice. I'm representing the diversity that NABJ has amongst our membership. And I've worked with a number of board members within NABJ. I've been able to understand the viewpoints of the leadership. I've been able to follow along. And by bringing together those interests from all parties involved, I can become the influencer and do what I always do when I'm with NABJ, and that is to get things done. I do this in my work on a regular basis, and my relationship to the organization is just as strong. My corporation and my company and the ties that I have support what I do with NABJ. They support it in a very financial and visible way. So to summarize it is that as a representative, I have to act in a representative manner. I will be out there talking with the people, bringing their voice to the table and saying, here's where we are, here's our traditional infrastructure, here's our needs, let's move forward, let's be successful, and let's embrace the constitutional changes or create new ones if we have to.
Thank you so much. And Mark?
Media, I'm going to be very honest with you. I think that a lot of our members, including those of us on the phone, need to get up to speed on the constitutional changes. It was a change that was made, from my understanding, we were all associate members, and then they broke us up into two. You have your academic members, and now you have your media-related professional members. I really feel that one of the biggest things that we're going to have to do, whoever, if you vote for me, I'm going to have to do is get more up to speed on what brought all of this about, and educate our members of the advantages and disadvantages of such. I do feel like it's a situation that it's in place now. Do I want to spend the next 3 years fighting to change it, or do I want to spend the next 3 years moving us forward and improving some of the things that I think that our members really want, our relationship within the organization. So for me, that's one of the issues that I feel with this change, and I think that we all really need to embrace it and really go forward and work within the confines of it, but look for ways that we can have a voice, a more equal voice at the table as members of NABJ.
Great. Thank you so much to our candidates. And now, Don, I'm going back over to you for our next question.
Yes, thank you, April, and thank you, candidates. My next question would be, what do you think is the number one concern of associate members? Let me edit that. What do you think is the number one concern of media-related professionals?
Terry, we're starting with you this time.
Oh, you are. I think, well, let me say this. I think misunderstanding what our role is to the organization has always been a challenge. I'm lucky enough to have been part of the Associate Member Task Force and now the Media-Related Task Force since before April. And I've worked with everybody who's on this phone who is a member or a representative, board representative. We have 3. And I think that a misunderstanding of our gift and our values is a challenge. I think that looking at us and only a tunnel vision, saying that we're only responsible for revenue and other things like that is a challenge. And I think that the lack of respect for the contributions that we make to the organization regarding the diversity of our membership and what we do is a challenge for the media-related family. But at the same time, we are a valuable contributing process to NABJ, and when there are economic changes in the journalism landscape, the media-related team has been able to show people how to go beyond the word freelance to the word entrepreneur, to the word job creation, to the word of contract and revenue development. So we're valued. But so the challenge is that we've got to build that bridge again. We've got to maintain that bridge and keep it going. and understand that we are an advocacy for NABJ as a whole, and we have a role as media-related representatives to work on those avenues that help us in PR, help us in entrepreneurship, and the other advocacies there. But we're still an organization of members who are supporting the main journalists that are part of NABJ. So there's a challenge that we have, and I think it's a number one concern. I have participated with April, Don, and Nita in conversations online and email and phone calls about why do I have a membership? It doesn't serve me. And during the past 8 years, we have put panels in there that serve them. We have put programs that serve them. We have created the networking that have gotten jobs and supported the new programs that have been created. Now, taking it to the next level, with your vote, I can turn it into creating certified training, creating relationships with corporations where we get first consideration of being hired, and building a job creation camp and a contract creation camp, which we can get our NABJ members who are media owners first contracts, opportunity, and revenue development projects that they can now hire each other and also empower the organization with a stronger revenue base. So those are the concerns, and they are going to always be there, but we want to focus on our relationship as a member of a journalism advocacy organization and create the dialogue. We need to open the doors and let them cross both sides of the aisle.
Thank you so much, Terry. And Mark?
Thanks. Our members, our media-related professional members, help with communication needs on a day-to-day basis with this organization. I think back to, I forget what year it was, but it was when we were in New Orleans and we had the first PR student project, and there was a problem with the hotel rooms. And while our, journalism friends in the student project were doing a story about, oh my God, there's no rooms for our members, our PR students were tweeting out information, letting our members know what was going on. I really feel that the number one concern of associate members is expanding their network, knowing the people that you can call when you need coverage for your organization, knowing if you have a video project, knowing that you can pick up the phone and call me, and I can put you in touch with 3 people who I know who do this on a regular basis. Having good relationships within NABJ is a number one concern of associate members, or media-related professional members, because it affects every facet of what we do as an organization and as a profession. And I think that that's one thing that our members want to know, that they're valued, as well as we need to make sure the organization realizes the importance of having us. You don't have the president of the organization writing their own talking points. You have them calling up, Dawn. You have them calling up April. You have them calling up, someone who's in PR to give them talking points so they can go on air somewhere and do an interview. And trust me, I'm a reporter, and I thought that I was perfect at these kind of things. But now I'm on the other side, I realize you do need someone to bounce things off of. So I think that that's the number one concern of media-related members, is knowing they want to know that they're valued in an organization they belong to, and they want to improve and increase their network within this organization and their worth within this organization.
Wonderful, Mark. Thank you. And Tansy?
Sorry to keep unmuting you guys. So I remember when I was a panelist at the Public Relations Media Institute in Atlantic City in the fall, and after the panel, people came up to me, the media or the associate members at that time came up to me and said 2 things. One, we need more conversations like this just for our membership, for the associate members, particularly for those in public relations and communications, because we don't ever really have an opportunity to have our conversations heard with the other general body membership. And so this was a great, panel. This was a great gathering, and we need to do more things like this. So what that tells me is that there's an internal need to do exactly what I just said, to have more internal discussions around issues that are important to us. The other thing that they came up to me and asked was, do you know where there are job openings? Do you need help? I heard that you were looking for a PR firm. Well, I have a PR firm that I run, and, can we talk later? So that tells me that there is a need externally as well for more job creations. I have been asked to participate on different panels at the convention that are about public relations, and those workshops were actually turned down. I participated on the task force calls, and even on the task force calls, we talked about, or it was discussed, what workshops we were going to submit for the 2015 convention, and they were turned down. And so what that tells me is that even though the immediate need, the apparent immediate need is, the louder voice, the more conversations, the more opportunities to have our conversations around issues that matter most to us. And then externally with the job creation, it sounds to me, and what I gathered was that probably the biggest need is to make sure that we matter and that people know that we're important and that we have value. Because you can put the internal and external issues that I just mentioned under that value umbrella, and it all means the same thing, that people need to understand and know and respect our place, not just at NABJ, but externally as well. And so in order for me to make sure that that's real and I'm on the right track, I will, like I said before, I would do the surveys, I would talk to the members and make sure that that is in fact their number one need. But so far, the interactions that I've had, again, as a panelist and as a member of the task force, those have been the issues that have bubbled up to the top.
Thank you, Tansy. I'm actually going to ask the next question, and I'm sure Mina and Don will agree. This role is very time consuming. There are three meetings a year, including the convention, and a lot of late night board calls and just NMJ business to handle. So it requires a huge commitment. And I wanted to know about your employer support, and if each of you have it, and what kind of support is your employer giving you toward this role. This is a hard job to do without any employer support. I'm going to start that question and give it to Mark.
Thanks, April. Do I have my employer support? Absolutely. In fact, I consulted with my director before putting my name on the ballot. I wanted to make sure I could assure her that it would not interfere with my day-to-day work, and she gave me her blessings and encouraged me to go forth. Also, as an employee with the federal government, with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, I have to file an ethics and a financial disclosure every year. In addition to even put in to be on a board, you have to submit documentation for participation, which gets approved by our general counsel, and all of that was approved before I ever put my name on the ballot. So yes, I have support for this role.
And Tansy?
My employer definitely supports my running. Actually, my employer is very excited about the possibility that I could be a board member of NABJ, so much so that they've actually given me a budget. So they pay for my way to convention. They paid for my way to Philadelphia. They've actually come on as a contributor to my campaign so that they could pay for my giveaways and my marketing materials. In terms of time and travel, our organization is actually set up in a very similar manner where our board meets 4 times a year as well. So they're very familiar with that format and support it 100%. And in terms of late night calls, well, that's after hours, so they really wouldn't care. Now, my husband may have something to say, but other than that, I think My job is I know my job is supportive. They have certainly put their money and our resources where their support is, and that is definitely behind me.
Thank you, Tansy. And Terry?
Well, I have an advantage that I have to hit the ground running and be productive and be connected to the major corporations and organizations that NABJ needs in order to generate growth and stability and to keep going. My employer understands that, yes, it will interfere with the job. There will be times when I will have to be focused on the roles of the job. They have no problem with that. My employer knows that sometimes I will have to support and take a stand and support stands that they may differ with, and I will be able to justify that because they understand the advocacy of NABJ. So they understand the conflict, they understand that it will interfere with work, and that it will be something that they respect. And not only that, my employer, I had a corporate conversation with the C-suite members who are a major contributor to NABJ to make sure that there was no conflict, that I would be running for this position. And I would I talked to them about the fact that I may have some issues and things that I have to support, that the organization wants to support, that they may differ with their platform. They said, but that's what journalism is about. And so they supported that. And I also reminded them that I may be asking them to increase their funding. They are a major funding source, and I say we may want you to come in and do an endowment. We may want you to come in and set up the employer relationship hiring process, everything that can empower everyone here. So they understand the interference. We have lots of flexibility there. Of course, I bring social capital to the table when I say that because I'm one of their top team members. I'm about to receive an award for top performing employee in the company, and some of that is based on the work I do in the community. It's tied into my job. So my employer is very, very, very supportive of this, and they are a major partner with NABG as well. I'm also a 20-year entrepreneur with my own PR and media company, and understand that things take long hours, things take 24 hours, things take all weekend. If that dedication is what always made me successful. It's always made me be the connector to the students that I've found jobs for, that I met in Atlanta at the convention, the students that reached out to me to get into the student PR project out of North Carolina, and the 2 students that I hired myself out of the New Orleans convention. They're now working for me and my personal company. So my employer is going to give me a high five and tell me to move forward. And I'm going to use them as resources to make sure that we get more opportunity from them for NABJ. That's why I need your vote.
Thank you very much, Terry. Before I go on to our next question, I believe it comes from Don, just want to remind our audience, feel free to submit your questions. And then also feel free to tweet your questions if you'd like to, using the hashtag pound NBJ election 15. And Don, do you have a question for our candidates?
Yes. I know we're specifically speaking about our role with NABJ, but I'm curious to find out from each of you, are you a member of any other professional organizations?
And Tansy, you can start with that question, please.
I'm sorry, you said Tansy or Terry?
Tansy.
Oh, okay. So I am a member of PRSA, Public Relations Society of America, Beepers, Taurus, and the PTA at my children's school. That's it.
Great. And Mark?
Yes, I'm a member with Public Relations Society of America, the National Capital Chapter. I work with 2 committees, our membership committee as well as our public affairs committee. And I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
And Terry?
Wonderful, Mark. I'm a member of several nonprofit, the Center for Community Corporations, which deals with the development of revenue-generated initiatives for nonprofits. I'm a member of the Center for Nonprofit Management because I have a background as a career history of being a board member and raising money. I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and we have several fundraising initiatives there that cross over the board. I'm also the founder of a national culinary event that raises money for charity, including March of Dimes, African Initiatives, Historical Archives, and I've been a founder of that, and I've been heading that organization up for 15 years. And we've raised over $187,000 for other nonprofits. And I'm also a member of several chambers. I'm also a columnist for 2 Black newspapers. So I have a vast level of membership out there that crosses over and contributes to the value that I would bring to the table when the members cast their vote for me.
Thank you all so much. Nita, I'm going to give the next question to you.
Okay, thank you, April. In terms of the position itself, and just from my interpretation, it does mean more than getting out press releases and talking points for the board. So how will you in this role influence changes internally to meet the needs of the diverse constituency and the changing membership? Because I'm hearing, just in terms of things that are taking place or not taking place currently that were previously in place. So I don't know how the ball got dropped or, the source book got lost, but because this is a relatively new position, and ideally I would think that some board members think by splitting this constituency into 2, it might be diluting the power base, but it could in fact provide an opportunity to bring even a stronger influence. So how would you in this role be that influencer?
And Mark, you want to go first?
Sure. One of the things that I find interesting about NABJ is that, we have members, and some of those members don't renew their membership until convention when we're going to a Las Vegas or we're going to an Atlanta. I think that we need more outreach throughout the year to make sure our members are engaged and informed, and they aren't just looking forward to, late July, early August when we have our convention, but they're looking forward to being a part of this organization every single day of the year. So I would look for outreach opportunities to engage and inform and work on reaching out to those members that we've lost over the years. Why did we lose them? Look for ways to bring them back into the fold. Look for ways to retain membership so that people look at the NABJ annual dues as like they look at their light bill. Hey, I know it's coming on this date. I'm going to make sure it gets paid. And look for ways to get involved. I've worked with a lot of, student journalists, student PR professionals in the past. It's a great feeling to see them come back with jobs, especially when they come back and they want to mentor other people, other students. So definitely look to, engage and inform our membership through outreach opportunities and retain our membership and grow it.
Thank you, Mark. And Terry?
Well, working in the corporate arena and dealing with community service provides many opportunities for me to take all these differences of opinions and all these great minds that travel in different directions and create agreeable outcomes that make it successful for us. I received an email just yesterday from Olivia, the last name withheld, who was a president of the student chapter in one of the universities in North Texas, and she's a former employee of a TV entertainment company. She says, you are a connector. You will get it done. I hope that I'll support your campaign because I know at the end of the day there are going to be jobs, and you're going to get us interviews, and if I get the interview, I'll get the job. That's about opening those doors, focusing on building bridges to continue to be a vital resource to our NABJ membership. Sorry for my nervousness, y'all. And restoring the organization's ability to be the leader in the industry the people that we first call us, creating an entrepreneurial curriculum so people who are transitioning out of journalism can create a viable entrepreneur. And, I really want to get rid of the word freelance because they become entrepreneurs. They have large contracts. They hire other people. All right. Adding that entrepreneurial curriculum to the Media Institute, teaching us how to collaborate. I was talking with, at the Atlanta conference, I talked with a PR person there. Troy and I talked, and the first thing I said, we're not collaborating together so that we can go after larger contracts. And if we had an outlet in D.C. and an outlet in Dallas and one in Chicago, we could turn around and say to a larger PR company, we'll take that contract because we have people on board to represent every city. So those are the things I think what we could see our success in what I would do. Those conversations. One of the things I think would be great is that we will be allowed to create a website and encourage each board member to have one and reinstate a dialogue with every member.
Thank you very much, Terry. And Tanti?
So I think it's a matter of sort of combining forces, and I think I would become influential internally by first working with the task forces, working with the membership committee, and of course working with the new board members, just to find out, what the climate is with the other members, the other types of members. And then make sure that they understand I want to know what's important to them, and then I want them to understand what's important to us. I want to be able to use my pulpit, if you will, to ensure that our voice is loud and strong. And I want to be that person that people just want on the committee. That's just the type of person that I am, where people just naturally want me as a part of a planning committee or a group. Simply because they know that A, I'm smart, and B, I'm creative, and C, I always represent what the people want who put me in that place, always across the board. And so it's not about Tansy. I decrease so that they can see the others increase in me, and then when they see me, they don't just see me, but they see what the organized collective group wants. And so I think that because, or I know that I would be influential internally simply because I would get involved in the conversation. I would make us a part of the conversation. No one really knows what you want until you speak up. Right. And so if we have a strong voice and start using building blocks so that people can see, like, oh, well, wait a minute, the media related members are starting to really come together and band together, we can't leave them out of the conversation. Once we start to build that infrastructure and people can take us seriously and know that, yeah, this may be a new type of membership, but this is the type of membership that is very strong. They have a lot, they're bringing a lot to the table, and this is certainly a group of people that we want involved in our planning efforts as well as our outcome efforts. And so, yeah, I think once you start building the blocks internally where you are building, again, a strong infrastructure, people won't really have a choice but to know that you are an internal influencer. And trust me, the conversation will change where it's no longer the question of what do we do, but the question then will become, what were we doing without them?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Tansy. I actually have a question for the candidates on the next question. And my question is, I mentioned before the board meets 4 times a year, and we all love elections. We get to meet the candidates and hear from you. And then in NABJ, we have a transparency issue. The candidates, the officers tend to go away, and we don't hear anything else. So my question for the candidates is, how do you plan to stay engaged and informed with the people that put you in office? And how do you plan to report out the happenings of the organization to your constituents after you get elected? And I'm going to give that question to Terry first.
You are. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it, April. Let me say this and be very clear. One of the things I want to mention based on your question is that one of the things that we need to work on that will require us to be transparent and to be interactive is that we need to work on our protocol and our handling of our sponsors, so our sponsor retention can be stronger, and the money and the return on investment is higher for my sponsors, and they don't quibble away at the dollars they give because they don't see the return on the investment. Okay? Technology provides us with so many social media tools. As a social media expert for Constant Contact, there are so many ways to stay in touch with people and keep it personal, keep it real, keep it viable, keep it at a point where you're reaching out to members that don't usually speak up because they don't feel like they have a voice. They say things like, I'm in Memphis and everybody's in D.C., so what can I do? All right, so having those social media tools, creating a monthly chat. I'd like for the president to chat with everybody monthly. I'd like for the Twitter chats to be more, we look at each region. I want the chapters to know how important it is to have a media-related representative in your board in each city. So we create the monthly chats that reach out to each chapter, reach out to certain content issues, certain growth challenges that we have in NABJ. So that's how we become transparent. We also, within the rules of confidentiality, post everything back to the membership and make sure that they know what's going on. I've been to conventions since Dallas, since 2004, every year, with the exception of Orlando. And I have 3,000 members in my email database. And one of the things I thought was crucial is that we don't reach back out to members when they transition. In the past 4 years, we've had the major transition of jobs. And it took, if I didn't do the monthly connection to those people in my database, I wouldn't know they've changed jobs. I wouldn't know they were interested in coming to convention. I reached out to a member in North Carolina just last week, and now we're going to get a suite for the students who can't afford a suite, and they can just come and be there. But if it wasn't for us reaching out on a routine and continuous basis, we wouldn't have that level of transparency. I think the board members should do that. As we raise money for the organization, we also should reach out, because somewhere out there is a voice that can bring resources to the table and can also help us create the success stories that we need to create for the future, anywhere from a student to a seasoned, older representative. So transparency comes from the monthly chats and the involvement in creating the social media channels where we will talk. That's
Thank
what
you
I would
so
do.
much, Terry. And Tansy?
April, can you repeat the question?
The question was just about how you would, if you were in the role, keep in touch with your constituents, let them know what's happening at board meetings, and just overall just be in touch with the people that put you in office. How would you make sure that they're informed members?
So I actually agree with Terry. I think transparency is key. I think that, consistent and constant communication, and having a constant communication mechanism such as a webinar or a monthly conference call where you are updating your members is critical. So I would also implement an email, a listserv where they constantly hear from me. So if there is any kind of new development or something that we're working on, or I have a new idea, someone else has a new idea, I would share that out on our email listserv. As the National Director of Communications for the organization where I work now, the BAO, every morning I get up and I send out a daily email to our internal staff, not because I have to, but because I think it's important for people to start their day with the understanding of what's going on in the organization that they have committed themselves to. I would bring that same type of thinking and that same type of energy as the media-related board member. And it may not be every day that they get an email from me, but it probably would be once a week, because, again, I believe that people need to stay informed, inspired, and empowered around and about the organization that they've committed themselves to, especially when you pay membership dues. The least you should know is what's going on and what the current news is for the organization that you belong to.
Thank you, Tansy. And Mark?
Saturday at the WABJ Baltimore Association chapters, Meet the Candidates, Sarah Glover who's running for president, mentioned that she would reinstitute posting the minutes online for members. I got to say, I totally agree with something like that, and I don't know why we don't do it already. So that's one way I would definitely I would push that we do something like that so that members have access to what goes on at the board meetings. By doing this, members need to realize that the information that's shared with them is for the organization and for members, and that you shouldn't be putting the membership organization out there to non-members because in the end, it hurts NABJ. It hurts us with sponsorship. It hurts us, our image, and we got to make sure that, we protect our brand. In addition, I like everyone else, transparency is key. I'm open to publishing an electronic newsletter. We can distribute to members maybe quarterly, as well as I'm always open to members calling me up and having a one-on-one conversation. But also, I think that you need to build strong task forces and teams around whoever the media-related professional board member is. You're not doing this alone. You have to make sure that you have people who have their ear to the ground and they're working with you in conjunction with you, bringing you information from members that they're hearing for those members that don't want to reach out to you directly, and you're able to relay information to them so it gets back to members. So making sure that you tap talents of members within the organization and expanding and working within that network is absolutely important. This isn't a one, while I may be, the board member, this isn't a one-person job. You got to make sure that you have a good team around you to make sure the message and transparency and communication stays flowing to members and they know what's going on at all times.
Thank you so much, candidates. And as we come down to our last 15 minutes, Don, if you have a question for our candidates.
Yes, as we continue the conversation, I am so happy, and I thank everyone for joining us on this call, this webinar today. And I thank everyone for all the tweets and everything, so everyone is up to speed beyond this call. But again, as we continue the conversation, I would like for each candidate to share how can people find out more about you and your campaign as you are seeking the term for media professional. How can everyone find out more about you and your campaign?
And Tandy, can you start with that one?
Sorry, I wasn't unmuted. Sorry, you said Tansy or Terry?
No, Tansy.
Okay, so all of my handles are exactly the same. It's Tansy West, the number 4, NABJ. So Tansy West 4 NABJ, the same on Facebook and on Twitter and my website. And the website is actually Tansy West 4 NABJ.wix.com.
Wonderful. And Mark?
I'm a social media guy myself, no website, but you can find me on Twitter, Mark WPA. That's MARCWPA. Also, I have a Facebook group page for the campaign. It's Lean on Mark, as well as you can find me on Facebook, my personal page, and that's Mark A. Willis. So, and I also posted a video last night giving you a little more background about me and just what I hope to accomplish if I am your next representative.
Wonderful. And Terry?
I have Twitter. It's at Terry Allen PR. I have the Facebook page, which is Terry for NABJ. Terry stands for NABJ. There's a group for that. Also my page, calling me on the phone, reaching out to me email, face-to-face, inviting me to your city. All of those things make me available for the dialogue. And I also have my monthly e-blast newsletter that goes out to a large member body that talks about the initiatives I'd like to institute in the ways that we can create viable relationships within the NABJ family, keeping it strong, and the ways we look at how we encourage interaction, how do we create jobs on the media side, in the journalism side, new media companies. So all of that's there through just calling me, my email address, my Facebook page, my Twitter handle, and of course, face-to-face. I meet with a bunch of journalists. I'm meeting with some real soon in another city as of tomorrow. So I'm always available. I think that I have to be a voice for the members, and then through me, with their vote, I'll be able to make their voices heard.
Thank you, Terry. I have a question and probably a quick answer from someone in the audience before I give media the next question. And the question is to each of the candidates: how many NBJ national conventions have you attended over the last 10 years? So that shouldn't take too long. I'm going to start with Mark on that one.
Well, I was new to the profession. I wasn't always a journalist or in the field of communications. I'm a Navy vet, and I worked in healthcare for 11 years. So since 2003, I've attended every one except I think it was it Unity in Chicago? I think in 2008 or something like that. Boss wouldn't let me go, and I got married that year.
Okay. Terry?
Who did you call?
This year will be my third one. Oh, you said Terry. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of Terry. There's a lot of noise. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear. I apologize. My first convention there got to be a taste of NABJ was 2001, Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
My most deep involvement was 2003 Dallas, and then I've been to every convention since then, and have created and been a panelist and a participant and held the receptions for the associate members in every city, with the exception of Kissimmee, Florida. When I landed there in Florida to go to the convention, I had a death in the family, and I got right back on the plane and came home.
Great, thank you. And Tansy?
So for the last 10 years, this one, 2015, will be my third convention.
Third? Okay. And then I think we have enough time. Mita, we're going to have you do our next question, and I will probably, yes, we're probably then going to closing. So Mita, you have the next question for candidates.
Okay. Just with regard to the roster of candidates that we have, I just want to know how familiar each of you are with all of the candidates who are running, and depending on who actually gets elected, how influential would you be in terms of getting the representation or the voices for those that you represent who so often feel voiceless? How do you feel you would get your voice heard when you're often going up against a majority that doesn't necessarily support who you represent?
And we're going to start with Terry on that one.
Who are you starting with again? I'm sorry.
Terry, I'm sorry. Terry Allen.
Me. Okay, I appreciate that. How familiar I am with the other candidates? I'm lucky enough to have worked with mostly everyone there. We've worked on convention panels. We worked on fundraising. We worked on bringing information presentations about the Constitution. Almost everyone there I've worked with, and it's always been NABJ related. There are two that I work with on entrepreneur-wise that are outside of that one, that I met through Pat Tobin, that she connected me to everyone with them, and she was a connector. That's where I got my training from, is from Pat. The candidates running for president, I contributed multiple times to Chapter Day, talking about fundraising and growing your membership. So I have a familiarity. How would I work with them? I think that everyone works out of a certain premise of being tuned into WIIFM, what's in it for me. So I need to know what's in it for them, and where we share the common ground to give and take our relationship values and needs to make it work. For instance, technology is a big challenge for some of the transition journalists, and Benet is a strong advocate of that, as well as the two people running for president. And so I would bring the need for us to bring corporate dollars to do the certified training in technology. So just finding a common ground similar to that would make the outcomes benefit the membership. And I can't do that without a vote, and that's why I'm on this phone call to get that vote so I can bring that synergy to the table. Everything that we do as an advocacy organization can generate the revenue and create the jobs and sustain the needs of our members. And that's what I bring to the table to interact with all the other people running, as well as the people on the phone here.
Thank you, Terry. And Tansy?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
How well are you acquainted with the other candidates for all the other positions, and how much influence could you bring to represent your constituency, who too often feel that they have no voice on the board?
So I have had the pleasure of meeting most of the other candidates who are running for various offices based on, some of these candidate forums, and even before I put my hat in the ring to run for this position. And so I think, I believe that I know them quite well. I know them well enough that, there's a comfort level there where there is a unique professional respect for each other, that there's a somewhat of a personal comfort with each other where we can have an open and honest dialogue about issues that are important to us and important to them. In terms of being influential, again, I have a very strong personality. I'm an easy to get along with, but I believe in speaking my truth, and I believe in representing those who have put me in place to represent them. I do it every day at work. And so because of that, because I have that knack, because I have the wherewithal and the ability and the skill set to adequately represent people so that we are a collective power, I believe that would build my influence. I do believe that I agree with you that the associate members, or more importantly, the media-related members, do feel like they don't have a voice, because I'm one of those people. And so just based on my experience with NABJ, I understand, because I live the exact same thing every single day. But that doesn't stop me from representing and advocating for NABJ outside of the organization, nor does it stop me from helping to build the value of NABJ inside the organization. And so continuing just to build on just the passion and the love for the organization and the mission of the organization, I believe that would help to build not only the relationships with the other candidates and the winners, but also with the being able to build my influence and my credibility with the other board members.
And then we have Mark.
Yeah, of the two candidates running for president, I know Sarah better than I know Mira. And that's only because I've had an opportunity to work with and have conversations with Sarah. Marlon, I'm a close personal friend of his. For vice president of broadcast, I know two of the three. I'm not familiar with Dorothy Tucker. Benet Wilson, again, I've worked with Benet. I've collaborated with Benet on things. In fact, I'm looking forward to working with Benet more on reaching out with, especially in the digital realm, as PR. It depends on that so much for getting our message out there. Sherlon, know him on a personal level. Greg Morrison, I've worked with him with the NABJ student projects. So and he works at CNN, so I've been a source to him in the past on stories and breaking news that he was working on. Dave Jordan, another close personal friend of mine. So I know a number of the people who are running for other offices, as well as the two people who are on the phone. I know Terry better because we've been, he's asked me to be on panels of his. We've reached out to each other, before all of this, and communicated. I just recently met Tansy, but by all means, I want to make sure that I keep a working relationship with everyone because, we're all going to need each other to go forward and to do great things in this organization. So, to get our message out there, I think that having good relationships with people, and I'm sure, we will disagree and things can get ugly sometimes, but I think that I have a good foundation with most of the people running for office that we can agree to disagree and we can find a common ground and do it in the best interest of NABJ and all of its members.
Thank you. Before our candidates close, I'm going to have you each do a 2-minute closing and go in the same order we started. Terry, Tansy, Mark, alphabetical order. Just wanted to remind everyone that elections open officially tomorrow. You see on the screen our candidates and all their mugshots. But you can definitely go to mj.org to learn more about them. We had a snafu today with our voting system, and voting officially started today, but it's going to be restarted tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye out on your email. A lot of those emails today went in people's spam folders. So definitely look for that email from NABJ. It will tell you how you can vote and give you a special login and password to our system. But you can definitely go to mj.org to get to the voting page. But look in your email for the password and the login so you can be able to have your vote cast. And voting starts tomorrow and runs into Friday, August 7th of convention, and then we will announce the winners that evening. So as we close, I just want to thank our candidates. This has been a great discussion. I'm going to start with Terry. Just last words, closing remarks on why you should have this role in this office.
Well, I just want to say I'm grateful to have this opportunity to give something back in a stronger way for an organization that I love and I've loved for years. With my background in economic development, my background in personal empowerment, I see my role as a connector to help members bridge the gap in their careers and do it seamlessly, bring resources, empower and strengthen our sponsor relationships, generate the funding programs to learn new skills, start businesses, create a secondary revenue streams for NABJ other than conference, and improve the relationships we had with our community. I came up with initiatives throughout the project. One of the things we're working on is the purse auction and shopping while black and all the things where we interact with the community. And so I think as a dedicated member of NABJ, I have the capacity to serve it on a local level, regional level, and national level. I'm honored to have worked with Mark. He's a great man. I'm honored to work with Tanji. We were in Atlanta together. I think that we have a great roster of talent. The journalism background that Mark has is extensive, and I've used it all the time. The tenacity that Tanza has been an icon for me to work. I think that with those skills, we'll work together, and I will be the connector once I get that vote to make sure that we still stay moving forward and that every voice from San Diego to New York is heard in our media-related task force and our media-related position. So I want to bring my results-oriented approach there, and I need that vote, and I need you to vote for me. I'll be out talking to the people, focusing on our time, money, and our expertise to make this work, and I need that vote. Thank you.
Candy?
So in closing, as a reminder, I've been associated with NABJ since 1994. I believe in its mission, and of course, I believe in us as a group. My platform is to inform, inspire, and empower because I believe information is power, and inspiration allows us to grow and soar, and empowerment gives us the freedom to be strong and a powerful voice that we need to be. So I ask you, vote yes for Tansy West starting tomorrow, and stay in touch with me at Tansy West for NABJ. I look forward to being your new media-related associate member and seeing you at the 2015 convention. And before I close, I would be really remiss if I didn't say good luck to my peers, Mark and Terry. I think you guys are incredible candidates, and I agree with what both of you have said tonight in terms of continuing to work together, regardless of the outcome of this election, and I wish you both the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Tansy. And Mark?
Leadership through education, achievement, and network. That's my campaign platform, and that's what I believe in. I believe that we should have a leader in place who believes that educating its members, seeing them achieve, and to build networking opportunities, and to build networks, which will help us all achieve, not just today, but in the future. I'm asking for your vote, and I'm asking you to keep me in mind when you go to the polls or go online tomorrow. And again, I thank my opponents. Again, and I've always been with NABJ, working behind the scenes. My opponents have very impressive resumes, but I've been at conferences for probably the last 10 years as a volunteer, working and helping the next generation of journalists and now PR professionals. And I want to see them succeed, and I want to see other members within this organization succeed. So again, I ask you for your vote, and I thank you for this opportunity tonight.
Wonderful. Again, thank you so much. We are ending just almost on time. But again, a reminder to everyone, voting opens July 2nd. Definitely go to our website and check out more about our candidate bios, and then keep an eye on our social media channels and your email about more information about our candidates in the election. Thank you so much, everybody. Good job. Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good night.
night.
Bye.
Good
All
job.
right, everyone be
Bye.
safe.